It is now 2 minutes past the hour, so we will get started now. This webinar will be recorded and you will receive a copy of the Job Application Tips webinar within the next week. I want to first take a moment to tell you about who we are and explain more about My Employment Options, or MEO for short. My Employment Options is an authorized employment network in the free federal Social Security Ticket to Work program. We provide employment support services to those who receive SSDI or SSI benefits and are aged 18 through 64. Our services include going through a workbook to get you acclimated with getting back into the workforce, resume writing, job coaching, mock interviews, and job referrals. We also have a benefits counselor on staff to assist with benefit questions and concerns. We only service the United States, but unfortunately, we are unable to assist those in Alaska and Hawaii. If these services are something you are in need of, you are definitely in the right place at the right time. So stay attentive during the presentation, and at the end, you will receive information on how to connect with MEO if you are not already connected to an EN or VR. The presenter and moderator for today is yours truly. I am a work from home counselor, and I also assist with HR operations. I have been with MEO for 11 years, and I enjoy helping people achieve personal success through finding and keeping employment. The areas that we will cover today are what a job application is used to determine. We will go over a job application checklist. We will also discuss how to fill in work history. We will review appropriate reasons for leaving. We will discuss references, and I'll also inform you about illegal questions. Employers use your application as a test, so you want to make sure you complete it correctly and double check before you submit your application. Your application is the door to your new job. Some of the things that an employer uses an application for are making sure you follow instructions, seeing how well you correspond, testing your ability to complete tasks, seeing how well you operate a computer, reviewing your work experience, seeing if you proofread your application before submitting it, and seeing if you are falsifying information. Your application gives an employer a lot of information, and you want to make sure you give correct and legitimate responses. It is best to have access to your resume when completing your application to make sure you provide all requested information. The information needed is the company name and contact information, your job title, your dates of employment, and your duties and responsibilities. When filling out applications, many applicants have the listed concerns. In later slides, we will go into detail on what to do about what to do about employment dates, sorry about that, little or no work history, gaps in employment, examples of appropriate reasons for leaving, and references. We will start off with dates of employment. These are some questions you can ask yourself to help you remember your dates of employment. The first being, how old were you when you started or stopped working at that company? What season was it? Was it fall, winter, spring, or summer? If you have children, was it before or after they were born? Was it before or after you were married? And what kind of car were you driving to work? And where did you live while working there? If you are unable to recall your employment history, feel free to contact your previous employer to collect the needed information. If the business is closed, use your best judgment and always fill in at least the month and year if you do not have the exact date. For those of you on the call with a lack of experience, you can use experience that you've gained from projects and activities you participated in your community, church, and organization affiliations, but only use the experience and exposure that correlates to the position you're applying for. If you are not active in your community, you can also add handyman jobs you've completed or responsibilities you have to keep your household functioning. Now we'll move into reasons for leaving. Make sure that you are being honest and staying away from negative reasons for leaving a company. You want your reason to be truthful and neutral. You do not want to provide negative reasons for leaving a place of employment. Here you will see some examples of negative reasons for leaving a job, and all are reasons you should not use on your application. Those reasons are that you've been fired, that you lost the job due to an injury, or that you left for medical reasons. Here is a list of positive examples that you can use as your reason for leaving a company or position. You can state that you've been laid off. You can state that you wanted to change careers. You can state that you left for a more suitable position. You also can state that you were looking for more money or even better benefits. And then you also can state that you left for relocation. Now we're going to venture into references. There are two types of references, professional and personal. Professional references are a former employer or coworker. A personal reference is an individual you associate with outside of the work environment. Many job hunters have concerns about what a previous employer will say during a reference check. You can have a little peace in the process because many companies are now using the work number to handle all reference checks. With using the work number, there is a fee, so most employers only release dates of employment and job title and are not releasing any other additional information. A personal reference is a person that you have chosen to vouch for your integrity, work performance, ability to get along with others, honesty, values, dependability, character, and any other concerns that an employer may have regarding your employability with their company. A personal reference can be friends, people you volunteered with, clergy, or neighbors. A prospective employer may ask your personal reference any questions without restrictions. Be sure to contact your personal reference before listing them on your application. You first want to ask if the person is okay with being your reference. If they agree, you need to inform them of the position you're pursuing and inform them why this is a good position for you. Remind your reference it is illegal for employers to ask questions to determine if you have a disability. And with that being said, I'm going to give you some insight on discrimination. Civil rights protection is provided by the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission, also known as the EEOC, and they can be contacted if you've received discrimination. You may be asked some of these illegal questions, which may then be used to discriminate against hiring you. Some of the discriminatory questions are, what is your race? What is your age? Are you married? What is your religious background? Do you have any children? Do you have a back injury? And have you ever been on workers' compensation? Now to move into completing your application. So as you can see, there's 3 flags that are listed. For the first flag, her name should be listed last name, comma, first. She put first name, last name, given the answer Nancy Claxton. For positions, employment desired, she put any, and Nancy needs to list the exact position that she's applying for. For the third flag, date you can start, she put needs time for doctor appointments. Again, Nancy needs to be specific. If you know that the company is open Monday through Friday, you need to give a Monday's date for your start date. On this slide, we have correct information for the first flag. The request is to list the years attended, and Nancy listed 4. For the second flag, her reason for leaving is workers' comp injury, which is a negative reason for leaving a company, and the company will think she's a liability and not move forward with the application process. For this example, on the first flag, the question is, can you perform the job with or without reasonable accommodation? Nancy put no, can't do any lifting. Only apply for positions where you're able to complete all listed job duties and responsibilities. If you're unable to perform all listed duties and responsibilities, do not apply. Then for the reference section, it says, give below the names of 3 persons not related to you whom you have known for at least 1 year. Her response was Bob Claxton for the second person. And remember, this is Nancy Claxton's application. So Bob looks to be a relative of Nancy. Now to summarize what we've discussed. Make sure you have all of your information on hand that you need to complete your application. That will be your dates of employment, employer contact information, job titles, responsibilities, and references with their contact information. Make sure you ask your references to be a reference before listing them on your application and provide them with the specifics of the position you're applying for. Most applications are completed electronically, but if you must handwrite, make sure it's legible. Fill in everything. If something does not apply to you, put N/A for not applicable. Your reasons for leaving should be truthful, neutral, and not negative. Be honest. Never submit your application without proofreading it first and using spell check. Make sure your resume matches your application information. And always remember, employers use your application as a test. Now for our final recap, the checklist that you can use before submitting your job application. The first thing you want to do is you want to make sure that you read instructions carefully. Before you start filling out the application, carefully read any instructions provided by the employer. Pay attention to specific requirements regarding format, attachments, and deadlines. Second, you want to gather necessary information. So collect all the information you'll need to complete the application, such as your contact information, employment history, education details, references, and any other relevant documents. Third, you want to start with your contact information. Begin by filling in your personal details, including your full name, address, telephone number, and email address. Ensure this information is accurate and up to date so that employers will be able to contact you. Provide employment history is the fourth step. With this, you want to enter details about your previous employment, including the names of employers, job titles, dates of employment, and responsibilities or achievements. Be honest and precise in your descriptions. Fifth, you want to detail your education. List your educational background, including the names of schools attended, degrees earned, majors or areas of study, and any academic honors or achievements. Sixth, you want to include skills and qualifications. Highlight your relevant skills, qualifications, certifications, and licenses that are applicable to the job you're applying for. Tailor this section to match the requirements outlined in the job description. Next, you want to answer additional questions. Some job applications include specific questions or prompts that require written responses. Take your time to provide thoughtful and well-crafted answers that showcase your qualifications and fit for the role. Following that, you want to attach any supporting documents. If the application requires additional documents such as resume, cover letter, portfolio, or references, make sure to attach them according to the employer's instructions. Ensure that these documents are updated and tailored to the job. For references, provide the names and contact information of references who can speak to your skills, work ethic, and character. Make sure you have obtained permission from your references before listing them on your application. Next, you want to review and edit. Before submitting the application, carefully review all the information you've provided for accuracy and completeness. Look for any errors, or inconsistencies to make necessary edits. And I'm going to repeat this because this one is very important, and you always want to make sure that you review and edit. Before submitting the application, carefully review all the information you provided for accuracy and completeness. Look for any errors or inconsistencies to make necessary edits. After you review and edit, you want to submit the application. Double check that you followed all instructions and included all required materials. Once you're satisfied with the application, submit it according to the employer's preferred method, whether it's through an online portal, email, or in person. And last but not least, you want to follow up. After submitting the application, consider following up with the employer to express your continued interest in the position and inquire about the status of your application, if appropriate. It's important to be patient while waiting for a response from the employer. Hiring processes can take time, so avoid contacting the employer excessively or expecting an immediate reply. Make a copy of the completed application for your records. This can be used for reference purposes if you need to fill out similar applications in the future. This concludes our information on job application tips. Now we will move into MEO resources. If you receive SSDI or SSI disability and are not a current client and want to find out if MEO can help you with our free services, you can visit our website at myemploymentoptions.com and click Apply Now to submit your application. If you are already a client of MEO and have questions about this webinar, please reach out to your assigned MEO job counselor. In the following slides, you will receive additional resources and information about our employment network and the services provided. We know that some of you may not be on SSDI or SSI disability or may not qualify for our free services in the Ticket to Work program. So I'm going to share some resources with you to assist you in the job search process. First, you can email us for a list of employment resources at help@myemploymentoptions.com. Note that this is an auto reply only email address. So if you ask a question, you will not receive a response. You can also visit our website and click on FAQ at the top right of our webpage to review our referral resources page. If you have questions after today's webinar, you can email Lori Adler, our communications manager, at ladler@myemploymentoptions.com. myemploymentoptions.com. For those of you who do not receive SSDI or SSI benefits, I want to make you aware of our staffing division, MEO Staffing. MEO Staffing is our newest division and is a diversity staffing agency created to help job seekers find suitable employment. A typical candidate is someone with workplace experience, blue collar to executive level, who knows their career path and employment goals. MEO Staffing services all 50 states. We would love to connect on social media. You can connect with us on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, and YouTube. We share information about free events, hot jobs, industry news, tips, and more. Now that we've covered resources, I will answer some questions that have been submitted. The first question states, do I have to tell the employer about my disability? So my response is, you will need to reveal, you only need to reveal your disability if it is going to hinder you from accomplishing your job duties listed in the job description. So if your disability does not hinder you, it does not need to be revealed. The second question reads, state and federal applications can take so long to complete. Any tips on how to make this process easier? I would first make sure that you have enough time allotted to complete the application. Make sure you're not tired or hungry. Have all of your information on hand before sitting down in front of the computer. Make sure you have a quiet space to complete the application and get ready for the long haul because every question will need to be answered. Question number 3 states, do you reveal if you have a criminal history? My response to this question is make sure you read the question carefully and answer truthfully. Question 4 is, how do you deal with not having any job experience? So with not having any job experience, you can list volunteer experience through your church and community organizations, related hobbies, or related coursework. Whatever you've done that has transferable skills for the position you're applying for can be listed in the work history section. Question number 5, how do you avoid ageism? To avoid ageism, do not list employment past 10 years. Most employers are looking for experience within the last 10 years, unless they specifically state they are looking for your entire work history. If you have graduated from your college or university more than 2 years ago, do not list the year you graduated. Question 6, do I need a cover letter? So a cover letter is only needed if it is requested during the application process. Question 7 states, How does an ATS work? An applicant tracking system, also known as ATS, is software that manages the recruiting and hiring process, including job postings and job applications. It organizes information about job seekers and makes it searchable. As its name implies, an ATS tracks candidates through the hiring process. It helps with interview scheduling, issues notifications and alerts, and sends automated emails to candidates and employees, such as recruiters and hiring managers. If you want the ATS to pull your application, you will need to have keywords from the job description in your application and resume. Question number 8. How do you explain having so many jobs in such a short time frame? The example they gave was 5 or more jobs in a 2-year time span. So there are many ways that you can list your employment. One being you can lump them all together, or a second being that you can combine them, those that have similar responsibilities. However you choose to list them, you can state that you've done temporary work for the past 2 years so the recruiter knows you're not a job hopper. Then, if you choose to list them separately, and if they are temporary assignments, you need to list them as such. Question number 9. How important are online applications to complete if a resume is attached? So when filling out an application, please do not put "see resume" in the work history section. The recruiter is reviewing your application and does not want to stop, look for your resume, review it, and then go back to your application. Please fill in the requested application information. Question number 10. How do I address the gaps in my employment? So you can use what you've done during those times. If you volunteered in any capacity, with a group or organization, you can list this experience. If you have not done any volunteer work, you can list responsibilities you've handled while keeping your household functioning. Remember, if you receive SSDI or SSI disability and are not a current client and want to find out if MEO can help you with our free services, you can visit our website at myemploymentoptions.com and click Apply Now to submit your application. If you are already a client of MEO and have questions about today's webinar, please reach out to your assigned MEO job counselor. This concludes our webinar for today. Please be on the lookout for our follow-up email in about a week that will have this presentation and recording in it. Thank you again for attending. Have a great rest of your day. Goodbye.